I'm continuing my series of MASH retro reviews with Season 1, Episode 24, Showtime. So this is the final episode of Season 1. And, well, how well does it conclude the season? Decently well, but I do want to say I think the previous episode, Ceasefire, would have made a better conclusion. And based off of some reading I was doing, sounds like Ceasefire, if they weren't going to get renewed, or a strong possibility, would have been written slightly different, ended slightly differently to actually end the show. That didn't happen. The show obviously had 10 more seasons, but they didn't know that initially, and this is definitely not the best season finale in my opinion. It's not like Abyssinia Henry. But I gotta say, one thing about that episode, this episode, knowing that's going to happen, takes on some new context because one of the plot threads in this episode is that Henry has a son. His wife, called Mildred in this episode, though, and later on she's called Lorraine. Again, continuity match wasn't a strong suit. And gave birth to their son, and Henry never gets to see him because of what happened at the end of Abyssinia Henry, or IPC Henry. I'll talk more about that when we get to that episode in probably a year. But really, this is a great, fun episode, but it is lacking. The connecting plot is that there's a USO show going on, and each individual vignette around it is much better than the episode as a whole, but altogether they're not the greatest. Like, there's also, I mentioned the Henry plot, and him being a nervous wreck because of it, and Radar, going to one of the Koreans who works in the camp's laundry, and who had recently given birth, and talk to her, probably explain what's going on with Henry, and that gives Henry the opportunity to still hold a newborn, even though it wasn't his son, to kind of help him a little bit. Radar always does small, nice things like that. Then you have the plot line going on where Trapper, Margaret, and Ugly John, who this is his last episode. I don't think I've actually talked about him, but this is also apparently the episode based off of the wiki. The episode where Ugly John has the most lines. Go figure. But anyhow, difficult patient. Looks like the patient's not gonna make it. They're cutting everything, to the last second. And then Father McKay is called in, prepares to give last rites, goes to hold the hand, and all of a sudden the patient starts feeling better. Perhaps, the idea is, getting some, massaging the hand. I don't know. Who knows? But it's a very touching little story going on, which also connects nicely with conversations that Hawkeye and Father McKay was having about Father McKay, how he doesn't often see the effects of his work, which makes sense. He's in the priesthood, the ministry. A lot of that does revolve around faith, where doctors can see tangible evidence of the work that they do. And the episode has basically, he goes to do his normal work, and the patient gets better. Not supposed to happen that way, but it does. It's just a really touching scene there. And then probably the most surprising thing is, at the beginning of the episode, Frank gets frustrated that Hawkeye is stepping over him with medical decisions. Like, that has happened a million times before. But he finally resolves to do something about it, and he doesn't take the Frank approach, which would be complaining to Henry and then complaining of the chain of command because Henry wasn't doing anything about it. And so what does Frank do? He pranks Hawkeye. He took the Hawkeye approach for a change. And, okay, his things are kind of silly minor, but the first involves, messing with the Stiers so it sprays Hawkeye's face, and then having Hawkeye, when he opens the door to the swamp, get a bucket of water dumped on him. And then probably his most clever one is sabotaging the shower somehow, so that way, no matter which shower Hawkeye was in, whenever he pulled the pull string to start the shower, the other shower would start going. And if he changed to the other one, it would somehow work. It would switch to the other shower Hawkeye was dressed in. That is really a smart prank from Frank. Obviously I can figure out how they did it behind the scenes. That's easy, But I was actually keeping an eye out, trying to see if I could spot any cuts. But regardless of behind the scenes, that makes sense. But how did he actually accomplish that? That's what I really want to know. But yeah, that kind of summarizes the episode. Each of them individual stories are great on their own. Two of them, they connect with each other, while the other two, not so much. But altogether, it's kind of a weaker episode, not the greatest season finale, but I do like how they ended the episode with a shot of each actor with their name displayed rather than like mention their character names or that. That I really do like, and reminding us that these are characters being played by actors. It's not like how they did at I want to say the end of the pilot where they used the PA to list the actors and who they were playing. I kind of like this a little better, a little more subtle, but still, I did like that. But that's really the only thing I liked about the ending of the episode. This episode really didn't feel like a send off to a season, but that was very common with sitcoms at the time. You just ended the season when you ended it. If you knew you were going to be ending the show, you might do it something a little special, but you generally wouldn't go for some kind of finishing a major story arc or anything like that because you didn't do story arcs. The fact that MASH had such a definitive season finale with season 3 is something, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But in the meantime, I would love to hear your thoughts on Showtime in the comment section down below. I will be taking next week off, well actually the week after, because next week is going to be every single season 1 episode, so stay tuned for that. Might get delayed to the following week, but regardless, I'll take 2 weeks off before I talk about season 2, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. You can also stay up to date on my content by following me on social media. I have a link tree down in the description which has all my social media links on it. Additionally, if you would like to support the channel, you can become a channel member and get early access to all my videos. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.